Cason Wallace has played pretty much as expected early in his freshman season, as he's immediately showing off his special defensive abilities while also sort of filling in the gaps offensively, playing both guard spots. However, he's still got a little more to show on that end in certain aspects. He shined brightest when going up against both Michigan and Michigan State. He shot the three ball at a very good clip, just does a lot of the little things you love to see out of a player. There's a lot to get to with him, so let's go ahead and take a first look at his game and what he's shown so far. Now, it was pretty obvious that Cason Wallace would be a high-level defender in college, but he's been one of the best defensive guard prospects I've watched over the last several years and a true disruptor. Cason's a very good lateral mover. He's got the necessary strength to wall off drives and absorb contact into his chest, and at 6'4" with his length, all of those elements allow him to guard up, and he's someone you're confident in potentially defending three positions in the NBA, and he really does play much bigger than his normal guard size would suggest. I'm consistently impressed by his quick and strong hands and reaction time, which allows him to come up with deflections, pokeaways, and results in nights like he had against Michigan State, where he gets you 8 steals and completely changes the complexion of the game in the process, even though they didn't come home with the victory in that one. Off the ball, he's got the ability to really be everywhere. He's got a long list of possessions where you can just see him processing so many things consecutively, and that high level awareness on his end is wildly impressive. He'll give you the high steals numbers playing passing lanes, which is one thing, but plays like this coming over from the weak side to jump a lane in the pick and roll in the opposite slot is the next level type of stuff that you're just not getting from very many players across levels. Now, he's not without flaw. He's still got some freshman moments in there. He'll gamble just a little too much at times, and while he's had some absolutely outstanding moments navigating screens, there are also a few times in there where I feel like he gets a bit undisciplined. He might go under a few more than necessary, but you kind of live with that when you have a playmaker of his caliber. You just trust and let them go make plays, and more often than not, he does just that. He does a good job at picking his spots. From what he's shown so far, this is absolutely his elite skill and something I'm confident he'll be making money for over the course of the next decade plus in the league.
But falling out of bounds, he turned it over. In the first half, 6 minutes and 42 seconds, and you would think with long trip out to the West Coast to Spokane for game Sunday.
Against that side pressure of Howard's defense. Loose ball, Cason Wallace forces
how much depth Cal can use with different guys coming in to put pressure on the basketball like Wallace is doing.
Wallace, one of the best defenders in college basketball.
He's also been a really solid playmaker to this point. We saw him kind of run the show a few more times early on without Xavier Wheeler, and that was a much different look than we've gotten with him in the lineup, especially kind of pushing the ball in transition. So it's important to keep that in mind. But Cason's a natural ball mover. He's been an impressive post-entry passer. He's made that routine driving kick out to the corner, and also made a few plays in the pick and roll as well. And his assist rate and raw assist numbers have been pretty representative of him making timely plays so far. We'll get at certain things that could keep him from being more of a primary guy, but in terms of the accuracy, unselfishness, and the ability to make basic reads and take care of the ball, he's done all of that at a high level, whether he's the primary or secondary guy in their offense.
Tasted like chicken.
They come out of the break, Wallace alley-oop. Boy, his hand strength and his hand speed is phenomenal for a true freshman. Look out, good.
Kentucky games over the years, seen a lot of talented freshmen. You talk to people like Paul Biancardi. This freshman class just feels different.
Ware turns him over. Wallace shares it. Here's Livingston.
Now, we're 9 games into the season. They play UCLA on the 17th, so potentially 10 depending on when you're watching this. But 9 games in, and Cason is shooting nearly 52% from 3 on about 3.5 attempts a game, which is pretty good, and you can't complain about it. Without getting too detailed right now, I do like his mechanics. I think he's had some standout moments on relocation and a few shots taken on the move that give me a lot of confidence. It's only 31 total threes, but I like the direction he's headed in, and I definitely think that he should take even more of them. Now, he's currently shooting just 57% from the free throw line, which is going to turn heads in regards to his shooting, but it is only 14 attempts, and though that is concerning for other reasons, it's not as a reference point for his ability as a shooter. Now, this is still a swing factor from him that we'll be looking at down the stretch, especially given some of those things that he maybe doesn't do as well as a primary. But for now, I think we can clap it up for how he's looked as a shooter to this point. Now going into the rest of the season with Cason Wallace, I think it's pretty clear what we want to see from him. He's not shown himself to be the most creative offensive guard at really any time in the past, but you couple that with him being somewhat hesitant and yet to really take the reins offensively, you start to get just a little more worried about him being a primary ball handler at the next level. I do think he's a good enough athlete. He's shown some flashes getting to the paint. He's shooting nearly 70% when he's gotten to the rim, and I've also liked a few of the floater finishes as well. But you want to see a lot more from him in that regard, though. The spacing alone that's been there has made it pretty difficult for him to even think about it at times, so that's very important to note and kind of hang on to. Still, he's taken more than 9 shots in a game just 3 times this season. For reference, Ty Washington only took less than 9 shots 3 times in games he finished last year, and Tyrese Maxey just 6 times. He is still playing for Kentucky and alongside Wheeler, so those on-ball reps are already split up and not in his favor. However, the flashes haven't really been there for him as an individual either, and there have been several moments where he's just got to take more advantage of what the defense is giving him and hesitate less.
The spin, the speed, the ball handling ability for a kid his size. Attempt.
Wallace, pull-up jumper, silky.
3 on the shot clock for Wallace.
Matchup wise, I'll be very excited to see him go up against a lot of these teams in the SEC. But once again, Arkansas tops that list. He'll likely be guarding Nick Smith Jr. and potentially be guarded by Anthony Black in the same game, which is one serious day to deal with. They also play Kansas, which I'd imagine he'll spend a lot of time on all 3 of Jalen Wilson, Grady Dick, and DeJuan Harris in that game. And he's also been really good under the bright lights in the nationally televised game so far. But most of the time you turn your TV on to watch Kentucky starting in like January, you should be seeing a solid matchup for Cason individually. And I think we might even see him guard up on guys like G.G. Jackson and Brandon Miller at times. The thing about Cason is I know he's going to contribute at a high level in the league, and he has a pretty scalable game, especially if the jumper holds like I think it can, but it's just to what extent that creation is there that'll more or less dictate my opinion in the end. Right now, I say late lottery or top 10 down into the mid-teens will probably be his safest draft projection at the moment. But who knows, maybe Xavier goes out or they give Cason a little more freedom, get more creative with some of the lineups or at least where they're standing on the court, and it pops for him in a way that'll sway me. We'll just have to see. I appreciate y'all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like. It really helps out the channel. Subscribe if you are new and comment down below what you think of Cason Wallace's game, and let me know what teams you'd like to see him on. As always, I'm Keandre, this is Intellect. Until next time, I'm out.
My name is Cason Wallace, and I play for the love of the game. Some of my first memories was playing with my brother. He's a few years older than me, so I was playing up. It's always been a battle at the house, you know. We both love basketball. We both pretty different in our game, so he's helping me with my defense, and I'm helping him with his offense. So us complementing each other and making sure we both get better so we can reach our main goals.